Okay. Oh, there's Member Bliss. Whose seat are we taking here?
I stole her seat.
Okay. All right, so has everyone had a chance to look over the minutes from last month? And if so, do I hear a motion?
Jeff, I think I was remembering our meeting from last month, and I thought Mike was sitting next to me, but I don't see him on the attendees list.
Okay,
I'll make sure he's back.
yeah, he was definitely there.
Yeah, he was.
Okay, yeah,
Thanks for catching that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, with that addition, has everyone seen the minutes and anyone want to make a motion to approve?
I'll move we approve.
Second, anyone? All in favor of approving the minutes?
Yeah.
Say
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Okay. I'm assuming we don't have any visitors. I don't see anyone. Okay. Then we'll move to Councilmember Bliss. Do you have anything to update us on?
Yes. Let's see, at the last council meeting, which was 2 weeks ago, council adopted the resolution to enact the Webster Groves Green Dining Alliance program. And so this was what the backup to the resolution, which is very clear and outlines the types of micro grants available, the requirements. But to what I thought was important here was just to see that the two types of micro grants that are available. One is just to kind of about eliminating waste. It's a smaller dollar amount. And then the second one is a micro grant to kind of recharge and help kind of go back towards those big ticket items that restaurants may need to continue the program. And then I especially just wanted to let the commission know that this is the time to start really talking it up to restaurants and trying to recruit restaurants. I was at Llewellyn's a few weeks ago, and Healthy Planet magazine had a whole feature about Green Dining Alliance. And Llewellyn's had an ad, they were mentioned in editorial, and they were mentioned in the advertorial. So I thought that was good press for them. Olive and Oak was also mentioned as well. So this would be the time to start trying to recruit restaurants towards the program. Let's see, next, and Todd will probably go into this a little bit more, but we've got the stormwater management survey that's on the website, and you can access that from the homepage. You'll see that's a featured item there. And then finally, our first work session of the new year is going to be January 2nd, and we are going to, that's a 6:30 meeting where it's basically just a dialogue between council members and staff and administration about different topics. And so on January 2nd, we're going to talk about the special initiatives funding, which is what the ARPA funds were rolled over into a new fund. And that is what's funding the micro grant programs for solar and Green Dining Alliance. So I just wanted to bring your attention to that. You all are welcome to attend via Zoom or in person, just to listen to where we would want to be going with that. So it'd be a recap of this past year and then continuing on how to do fiscal year 25 with that. And that's all I have.
Pam, what was the day and time on that meeting again?
January 2nd at 6:30 is typically when the work session begins.
Thank you.
Right. Todd.
I have some good news. The city was awarded the SS4A grant, $2.75 million grant, or getting $2.2 million from the feds. So that will be to be able to put together our action plan for making streets and roads safer for pedestrians, bicyclists, and motorists. And with that grant, we'll be hiring a couple of new staff people to help with the grant, a grant administrator, a part-time public affairs person and one other person, part-time, I don't remember what it is. And then the grant also allows us to do demonstration projects on these types of things that we're looking at to try and make the roads safer. So
That is good news.
we were quite surprised that we got the full amount.
So do you know what the next step is on that as far as?
So the next step that they said, it will probably be in January. They're going to send out the grant agreement that we have to get the council to approve and sign off on. City administration will sign it. And then they will have a webinar with us to go over what we need to do for the grant. And I would assume the first steps will be hiring the people that we have in the grant supports, hiring those people and then starting to look at what projects we want to do, demonstration projects we want to do this spring, summer. So
Follow-up question, Pat, is this related to the project to expand Elm? From like the swimming pool down to, Watson? or
Watson.
whatever the-
no, that's a separate grant that we got. That's a federal transportation grant that we got for that one. But that is a road diet. So it's kind of goes along with the Safe Streets and Roads for All. But that's an actual separate grant that we got for that one. That's a $3 million project and we got a $2 million grant for that. For the construction of that.
So this new 2.2 million is for,
For an action plan, designing an action plan for making your roads safer for pedestrians, bicyclists and vehicle traffic.
and is your anticipation that making the plan will consume those dollars, or is part of
That-
the 2.2 million actually
Yeah.
implementing the?
Well, it's the personnel, the demonstration projects and drafting the plan together.
Hey, Todd, so I have a question on that. Some of us, I know I was included, I think Jeff as well, were involved with the Traffic Advisory Council and, working on this complete streets sort of concept, which seems sort of squarely to fit within this funding. I've sort of lost track of where that process, where that is, and I think the mayor was involved as well, but I'm not sure where we are with that. But are these things sort of tying together, I presume, in some manner, or if not, sort of, what's the story there?
Yeah, the complete streets is kind of ties into the Safe Streets and Roads for All. That is going to be just an ordinance that the council is going to pass. That will have a complete street program. But then this program, this grant will help us to create that action plan so that we can get projects coming out of that moving forward, much like the Elm project and other projects. There may be roundabouts, there may be traffic calming type of projects. So we'll see what comes out of this grant because there'll be some studies that we'll be doing with them, traffic studies and other things. So.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. So we've got separately the ordinance, which is sort of on its own track, and that would presumably, if passed, would inform sort of how we think about how to spend these grant funds.
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you, Todd.
Okay, so any further questions on that before we move on? All right, let's go to old business. And Karen, have you any news on the future of the Eco Ed series?
I do. We're meeting tomorrow morning. Carrie and Carla and Corin and I will be meeting in the morning. But we have been, it's pretty clear, I think, that they definitely want to continue with it. But I'll be going forward with I'm not sure I want to call it a mandate, but with our ideas of something that's fun and actionable
Great.
for what we would like to see happen.
Deal. Okay, holiday light collection. Any word or update on that, Mike?
I think all the boxes were dropped off. I haven't checked on them since they were dropped off, but Todd, did they swap that other one out at the service
Yeah,
center? You sure?
Yeah, we've got a new one down there now. Yep.
Okay, yeah. All right. I think they said they were just gonna do that late last week. So I think should be in good shape.
Okay, that sounds good. Next up is John's gonna give us a little update on his road trip to Springfield.
Springfield.
All right.
yeah. Bright Lights, big city. So, first, the good news is
Still
I was
can't
able to get a
hear.
grant from, it's green.
Be on.
I'll be closer to the mic. So one bit of good news is I got a grant from MDC to fund the whole thing, so there is no cost to Webster for it. And the, we've already, as a city, worked with MDC some. I know there's somebody from Missouri Department of Conservation who came a number of months ago on, and we had a pre-meeting up at Maypop and then did a walk through Deer Creek. And I think that's kind of just the tip of the iceberg where MDC realizes that most of the money that funds it comes out of St. Louis and Kansas City, the big cities, but their traditional sort of work has been in rural Missouri, where they have conservation department lands and they're very focused on supporting deer hunting and turkey hunting and all that. So as a department, they are very keen to look at ways they can have projects in the metro areas. And I think I can't say coming out of that meeting that there's one project that hit me in the head where I thought, oh, this is perfect for Webster. But I think it is important for us to keep in touch with, especially Julie Stone, who is the St. Louis Regional Director for the MDC, to understand what of our priorities might fit with MDC. And because like I say, MDC is a willing partner. They recognize that they need to do more in the urban areas and are looking for opportunities. So I'd say that's kind of the 30,000 foot view. And it's just one, for example, that was featured in this event was the Columbia Farmers Market. I don't know if anybody's been to the farmers market in Columbia. It is like the most sophisticated farmers market in Missouri. And a lot of that money actually came from MDC. Not only from MDC, they're good fundraisers, but MDC has been very active in that. So they're willing to be active in things that aren't sort of traditional hook and bullet hunting and fishing stuff. And so I think we should continue to stay in touch with them. And if we have projects that might be a fit, they're another potential partner to go to.
Thanks for the update. All right, let's move on to new business. And I wanted to sort of set aside most of the time today just to kind of talk about priorities for next year and specifically some of the things that we've already got in motion, like the solar rebates and the Green Dining Alliance, and ways to move those forward and succeed with those next year, given I know everyone's got limited bandwidth in terms of time. I would add to this, trying to find a way to distribute the bags from the grant we received, because I don't want to just kick this can down the road for years after year. I don't even know. I need to follow up with you, Sean, about are you in the possession of like what the rules are for how we distribute those, or does that reside with the previous commission chair?
Not aware.
What happened?
Is someone speaking? Sorry.
Oh.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. I thought Carla was maybe trying to jump in here.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I couldn't hear what was said before. I'm so sorry. I'm in the car. I'm not driving, but I'm in the
Okay.
car.
Okay,
They probably couldn't hear me.
okay, yeah,
I was just responding, my microphone wasn't on, apologies. I was just responding that I'm not aware of any rules on distributing those bags. To my knowledge, there aren't any. So, that's helpful to us.
okay,
It was
Great.
originally set up to give out at city events, but then COVID hit and we didn't have any city events, so we couldn't give them out.
right. I know we talked about that. I wasn't sure if there was a restriction on the grant that we could only distribute those to city residents or county residents.
I think it was mostly for city residents, but I don't think there's really any restriction.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I kind of remembered it that way too, where it was supposed to be like Webster Groves residents, but also we weren't specifically asking people if they're Webster Groves residents because they were in Webster for an event. So I don't know if that was a rule or if that was something we imposed on the program ourselves.
Right. And I wondered, as far as, maybe a strategy did we talk about this working with the schools?
Yeah, like the college,
Yeah, or even,
like welcome kit.
yeah, the high school and
Yeah.
Hickson to just to.
I did give one box to Hickson already to Mr. Hayes, the sustainability teacher, when I gave them the compost bins. I gave them a box of bags. So probably cross them off the list.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was thinking in terms of distributing those, I'm looking for a strategy to mass distribute the bags and get them in hands of people specific, hopefully city residents who can use them. And I just wonder if if there's a way to do that through the schools, through students who we know are residents of Webster Groves.
I like that Webster University idea because I often see
Yeah.
Webster U students walking the Schnucks on Big Bend.
Yeah.
Jeff,
oh,
is
Carl.
that what you were remembering, that I had suggested that before?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I could definitely get some into the hands of Webster students if we want to do that.
What's the head count of residential of students who live in Webster University houses ballpark?
I don't know. I mean, we have all of these international students who just came. All of them are in university housing, but I think some of them are living in Webster Groves off campus as well. I could get that. I could try to get that information, but I really don't know.
And I wouldn't discriminate against people whether they live in university housing or non-university housing, but I'm thinking the university housing is could be in Webster and I would trust a college age kid a little more than a high school age kid, no offense, to actually use a bag, because when I was in high school, I didn't go shopping for groceries.
Right. We did mention though, at like basketball games or something, you could hand them out to the parents that are, and then their local or at the football games or soccer games or something. Hand them out there.
Yeah, so would
Or
you
food.
just give a box to the high school and we'd just be hand these out? Cause I can talk to Dr. Irvin and Chris Johnson and stuff about handing them out at sports games and stuff, especially with basketball season right now.
So
They've
is
been
there,
very busy recently, so.
so there's a sustainability club or group at,
I mean, okay,
High school.
there's an environmental club, but I don't know anyone who's in it. I don't know the teacher that runs it. I don't know. And I've tried to look up, I'm on our yearbook staff and I've looked at when they meet, but I haven't seen anything. So it's mostly just been me talking to Dr. Urban, but
right,
I can still do
Or
that though.
student council or.
Yeah, I
has a
can-
Booth there, somebody.
Yeah, I can definitely talk to Stuco about doing that because I feel like they would probably it'd give them an excuse to like recruit kids for Stuco at the same time, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would make sense just to identify as many channels as we can to get those in the hands of residents. So that it's easy to talk about, but it's easy just to defer to the next month or the next year. So I'd love to focus on
If you,
having a
do you
strategy.
want me to just, do you want me to just pick up a box and get it to, I can talk to the residents, like people at the university and the people who are kind of helping the international students, and just pass them on if you want.
I mean, it seems like it would be helpful, and just, you know,
Okay.
we'll see what strategy works.
I'll grab a box and see what happens.
May I ask how many boxes we have and how many bags are in each box?
That's a
Just-
great question.
It's a little hard to guess right now because the stack of boxes where those are located, there have been other items placed on top of that stack. And it's not a very friendly pile to move or go through. So I'm not actually sure, but Carla, I can help you do that when you
Okay.
come up. So if you want to shoot me a message offline and
will.
just let me know what day or time I'll help you with that. I also do have one box in my office. I think it's around 30 bags are in a box. And I do
Oh.
have one just right here. If Carson, you wanted to take it after the meeting, I could give it to you, but.
Okay.
Occurs to me another constituency would be the more progressive churches that might have an Earth Day event. Like I'm thinking the United Methodist Church on Bompard. I know they've got an environmental group that they turn out 25 a month to their environmental meeting. I bet that church right across this Elm, they're at the corner, they're total lefties. They're gonna have an environmental group, I'm sure. So if we could find like a half dozen churches that would each take a box of 30, the people in the churches are gonna be old people like bags, reusable bags, they won't forget. It seems like that could be a way to move it, and they're gonna, not all live in Webster, but they're mostly gonna live in Webster.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, those are all good starts, I think, as far as kind of working our way through this.
Can I make another suggestion real quick?
Yes.
Why don't we just put some up in the, the next to the front desk at City Hall, and when people come in to do whatever they need to do, offer them a bag.
Or I was gonna say next to the lights, come turn in your lights, grab a bag, any sustainability event
Yeah.
or thing that we're supporting.
But
Put a box,
Yeah, but people are coming in and out, presumably every day with, getting their permits or maybe, or whatever. And, just if the people who work at the desk don't mind just offering people a bag, that might, whittle down the amount pretty quickly.
Yeah, if there aren't restrictions on how we distribute them, yeah, let's go for it, is my thought.
So
We could
Sean,
also, I don't know if how this would work or if it could work, but we could give them to the Green Dining Alliance restaurants to use as takeout bags.
It's a great thought too.
good
I
idea.
like that. It's brilliant.
All right, well, we've got that problem taken care of. All right. So another obvious priority for the year is to advance the solar rebates to the extent possible. And I know we talked last fall about trying to organize, it was kind of last minute, but trying to organize an event where we could table, we could have a representative of Ameren there, we could have Grow Solar there, we could have another solar installer or other folks who might be able to help answer questions for residents who are interested in solar. And I'd love to see that resuscitated and get on that early this year if possible. Before I don't think January or early February may be tough, but late February, early March. Given that, I think the current funding goes through the end of the fiscal year. Is that correct? Okay,
June, when is the end of the fiscal year?
end of June.
June 30th.
June 30th?
This was sort of a celebration, right?
Yeah.
Right, right.
Would we want to tie that with Earth Day or no?
I just think Earth Day is going to be a little bit later. I mean, it's in what, mid-April?
Yeah.
I thought if we hit it in late February, early March, just throwing that out there, that it would give people time who wanted to take advantage of the rebate. And we had looked into a room, I think at Olive and Oak, to we could have some hors d'oeuvres, have people come who are interested, and just be sort of one-stop shopping for them if they had questions about solar, about putting it on their roof and code, or permits or something like that. And they could talk to Ameren, they could talk to a solar installer, assuming we could get all these people under one roof on one day.
How would you, what would you think about tying that into one of the eco-ed lectures? I mean, if
Could we make it an eco-ed event?
I would think so.
Here's my thinking, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I think people actually seeing an actual installation at an actual house is a thing, because I think it's just I think it's too big of a conception, but the difficulty is it's a big leap for people, and it's similar to, I think, EVs, that you need to, people need to test drive it, they need to see it. And I think it could be, it could be branded as a, whatchamacallit, green, speaking gig, but I think the reason that people don't pull the trigger is it's just too much. And that I think having the Ameren people, having the building codes people, all that, I think that's all great. And there could be, you could have a room at Olive and Oak is sort of like the jumping off place where you pick up your map and you schmoot and you can talk to the utility people and blah, blah, blah. But then you have an option to actually eyeball a real array where you can talk to somebody who can say, and I find that people got solar, they are gearheads. They love to talk about their solar. You can't make them stop.
Well, a couple of thoughts on that. If we had something in, late February, first week of March, that was, the weather is, it's gonna, I don't know how many people you're gonna get out, look outside, traipsing around Webster looking at solar panels, but
I'd go.
if you had an event though, maybe it would make sense to have people's, a couple, 2-3 homeowners who would be willing to be resources. And if people wanted to go look at their solar panels, I don't know. I think of an EV and solar is a little different. I think battery storage is a different story. If that's now, I don't know how many of those you'll find.
Battery storage tied to solar,
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I just want to this would be geared for people who are interested in solar to come and just get their questions answered. And I wouldn't, we want to push these rebates, and I don't know when we're going to get a tour. I don't know when we're going to get a tour scheduled during warmer weather.
Yeah. I don't think this has to be just one event, right? Can't we just do what you described, Jeff? And then also try a tour when maybe later on in the year? John, I respect your opinion about what might motivate somebody to get solar, but I don't know. I don't know how to put this without sounding rude, but it's anecdotal, right? Like, we don't actually know in a data-driven way what the obstacles are and what motivates people. So I'm not sure we want to, completely change the plan or make the plan more complicated based on, just
what one person knows from their interactions with other people. I don't know if there are studies that we could find that give us some, data about this, or maybe you are basing it on data and I'm just assuming that you're not. I don't know.
I participated in a sustainability home tour last year that was wider than just solar. It also include native plants. It include water retention, blah, blah, blah. It was huge, and it included places in Webster and Maplewood and Roundabout. And it was, I don't know, 100 people went through.
Yep.
No, I mean, that's obviously just one data point, but, and I hear.
Well, I'm not saying a tour wouldn't be great. It's just a lot it seems like that feels a little overwhelming to Jeff, and that maybe we could just start with something simpler. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I like the idea of having that resource available to people who may be completely unfamiliar with solar and have never, they may not have somebody on their street that has solar panels to be able to look, and like people who are very sort of visually oriented learn by seeing. I mean, I'm kind of one of those people, and I would be open to having that available as a resource for people who maybe come to this event or are interested. But I don't know about a tour as far as going to see. A tour to me suggests you're going to go to multiple homes with solar, which I'll tell you, I mean, there's different layouts on a rooftop, but solar panels are solar panels. So I get the appeal of visiting somebody that has solar panels and getting to ask the homeowner, like, hey, so how did you get started? There's a lot of questions. Yes, Carson.
Could we just like have some sort of like pamphlet or something that's out where it's just like, here are like the next steps if you're really interested, and have like pictures of different houses that have it or something. And like, I feel like the people who have, like you were saying, people who have solar panels like don't like to shut up about it. So they could be at the event.
Yeah, they
And
could
be
they could
like
have
have
their
like
own table
yeah.
at the event.
So it's like, if you can ask like the energy people, or you can ask the people who like actually put it in their house. And then I feel like if you're one of those people who like really does want to see it, then you can talk to someone who has it in their house, and like, I don't know, you could ask to like see it at their house if you wanted to or something.
What I
don't know.
envisioned would people would come, have an appetizer, drink, talk to the city, talk to us, talk to Ameren, talk to a solar installer. And then maybe we'd have a couple people willing to show off their solar panels if afterward they wanted to go see something with their own eyes. As opposed to necessarily a tour with multiple stops.
I like the idea of having the residents on facility, or the residents with solar at the site, because I could bring, I could see much more than letting someone come to my house. I would be interested in bringing a picture of my solar layout on my roof and show my app that my solar is on that I can see, and bring my Ameren bill so that, because those are the things that people are going to ask me about, is how much did it reduce your electricity, and how does it work on your phone? Because everyone's, the way that your roof line is and the way that your electric panel is, like that stuff is all going to be different depending on your house. And Webster has a lot of different aged homes. But the things that I would be interested in, and I think people would be interested in, is, maybe seeing what it looks like on the roof, but then looking at your bills and looking at how you use your solar on a daily basis.
I like that idea, and I hear that there's not an appetite for a tour. I'm picking that up. Well, I wouldn't do it in February. I'd do it in April or May, frankly, but I think what Elizabeth said made sense. That if we had, let's say we had 4 or 5 people who've got solar installed in Webster today, they come, I like the idea of bringing the latest Ameren bill so people can see what it looks like. They can show a picture of, is it a ground mount, roof mount? What kind of pitch is their roof? When did they put it in? How much did it cost? How much did their electricity go down? What's the payback time? If we just give them like, here's 10 data points, everyone hits these same data points. So we're comparing apples to apples. And then if somebody's like completely thrilled about it and wants to come look and you're willing to have them come, that's great. But it seems to me that real local people who've got real experiences are what make it pop, as opposed to some boring person from Ameren talking about, well, you send in this form and that form. I mean, and I spend a lot of time on the web looking at Ameren stuff because I'm always trying to think about how to do more green stuff, but it's not exciting.
I agree with you, John. One of the things that I think that if we're looking to get the people engaged before the rebate expires, I think we do have to start early. And having an eco-ed meeting, eco-ed doesn't have to be a speaker. I mean, we've talked about making it fun and actionable. This is sounding to me like a fun and actionable event.
Right.
Where we could, as well as bringing green bags, we could even maybe see if some of the people who have solar now would be willing to serve as mentors for other people. We set up a mentoring program and that would really possibly get them in.
Or
engaged.
I don't know if they've ever done interviews in the past in Webster, like, Kirkwood Times or something, just somebody. I don't know if we have the means to go interview somebody, but like if they couldn't make it.
Don Corrigan to do it in the.
There you go. I mean, go up to that person and ask,
Yeah.
some of the same questions. If they can't make it, those questions are there. Like, here's another person that has it, get it in the paper, get it on social media before that day. Common questions, like she said, your bill, like, has it really impacted you? Or was it hard to get it going, or whatever questions people.
I think these are all good ideas and I'd love to see us start to plan something for whatever's, I don't know if something in, how soon is too soon, but I think the earlier we get on people's radar and start really talking about the solar rebates, because it's not a decision people are going to make overnight. They're going to want to weigh things, but we want them to take action before the end of June when these.
So June 30th is the end of the fiscal year when then the money would roll back. into
That is
general
the
fund.
end of the fiscal year, but Eric Peterson has confirmed with me that whether the funding is encumbered or it's labeled a different way, we'll be able to still distribute the solar rebates after June 30th. The way that the ordinance was written up this time, it says June 30th. It says it's to be used within this fiscal year, but Eric has told me that we will be able to use the full funding amount we have, even past June 30th, if we haven't distributed them all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because,
that's great. That's great news.
because it's ARP funds and it's in that special fund, so it's not gonna go away.
So
Yeah, good news.
Whereas June 30th, the budget ends. So budget monies go away, but this money's in a separate account. So
Yeah, that said, I mean, we haven't really done an official kickoff for the solar rebates and really made it an effort to push these. So I'd love to get out and talk about it. Yeah, let's look into,
First January, February?
yeah.
Could we push back a little bit? Because February, the odds that we get weathered out.
Well, you said March as well. That's right.
We could, I initially thought maybe first week of March. You could still get snow, but it's not going to be, 6 inches, I hope. But maybe we could talk to Olive and Oak about that. The deal you mentioned last time sounded great.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
think people would really respond to it.
Why don't we start with that? I'll reach out to Olive and Oak for dates in early March. If they're full, then I'll look at the end of February.
Yeah. Cause then it's
Oh.
avoid spring break and stuff. too. Yeah.
Right, yeah, we definitely want to get it in before people get really busy.
What was the times we were looking at again?
First week of March is preferable, right? And then end of February.
How would we
Ah.
advertise the event, you think?
I'm thinking we go through, both through the city, push it out. We could, I think, we could try to get something in the Webster Kirkwood Times, push social media. Go through basically any channel we can.
Get it through the school papers or,
Yeah.
I know we get Wednesdays, we get a weekly thing from our principal or our secretary,
Yeah.
you know, is there a way to get it into the schools even so that the parents get that, oh, every Wednesday I know I'm getting an update. Can you just test this out and, you know,
There's probably a way on this new like app they
Right.
have. I
that
can-
parent square,
I can
whatever
talk
it
to
is,
Irvin about that too.
right?
I am on the road the entire month of March. So I would ask if we could do it either the last full week of February or the first week of April. I would like to have people I know in town who've got solar, I think would be good speakers and be glad to help, but I am out of the country.
Gotcha. Well, I guess, why don't we just see what dates? I mean, I'd prefer not to wait till April, just because people start to get really busy. And once the weather turns nice, the nice thing about being a little cold still is there's been a lot of people spending time in their homes.
Yeah.
They need something to do. Football's over. Okay, well, that's at least a start, and hopefully we can continue to work on this. I don't know if it's necessary to put a subcommittee together to help organize. But maybe we get to January and from there, we'll see where we are. Great. And then also if we can do an eco ed and get some involvement there, I think that'd be a great. If it would work out, I mean, it doesn't have to be categorized as an eco ed series event, but.
We can do both and like, because if
Yeah.
the eco ed is generally an evening sit down speaker vibe, and this vibe is more of a workshop-y one-on-one, let me look at your Ameren bill, then we have two bites at the apple. And I think that's good. Maybe people come to the first one and they're like halfway there, but they need to come to another one.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense to you, Karen?
It does. And again, one of the things we're going to be trying to look at is to get the way to get the speaker series, not come and sit down and listen. So it could actually be one of the time slots for the eco ed where we start it and then maybe move on. I think having more than one part of it is probably going to be important for it to be for it to work. I don't think we can do a one-off and expect anything to happen.
All right. And then I guess another priority for the year is trying to work with the restaurants on Green Dining Alliance. Does anyone have thoughts on how we go about recruiting restaurants other than anecdotally just divvying it up and try to make contact? I don't want to put you on the spot, Amna, but since you've worked a little bit on this, any thoughts on?
Yeah, so so last year we tried to reach out to restaurants through I can't remember what it's called, but the BDC hosts it and it's like a coffee thing. And they invite all the local Webster businesses to come and just like chat. And we had actually Ben from Green Dining Alliance had a table. The thing is, like, there were a lot of businesses there, but none of them were our restaurants or dining like businesses. And what we realized was that they're all really, really busy, like doing their operation. So I hate to say it, but I really think that the targeted outreach, even though it requires a lot more hands-on time and like people power, I feel like that is just the highest impact way to reach these folks. They're so busy, they have such like small, like, operating margins. And so I think that it might be the best way reach out to them. And if we know folks who know owners, like if we can use our networks to reach them, that might be like one way to kind of take some of the work off our plates. But I really think that is the highest impact way to reach out to them.
Can I interject here? So I have a meeting with Ben Doherty from the GDA tomorrow morning. And so we'll be discussing next steps. It's Ben's job to promote the GDA and to get restaurants to certify. That's his full-time job. So he's very excited about our micro grant program and that Webster's supporting this. So it's already on his agenda to be knocking on the doors of all the restaurants. So I'll know more tomorrow after a meeting on what his plan looks like and where we can support that. But I don't know if we really need to recreate the wheel on a targeting campaign because that's his job already. But one other idea that's kind of in line with the BDC event, but different, is that the chamber, which also includes Shrewsbury and Rock Hill, but a lot of businesses in our area in Webster go to the chamber meetings, and they actually, I guess, offer the health plan for a lot of these establishments. So restaurants might be more engaged with the chamber than the BDC, for example. Maybe not, but that was another suggestion. Maybe that came from discussing it with you, Pam. I don't remember, but somebody mentioned that we could tap the Chamber of Commerce, their meetings as well. And the BDC event, I believe it's on Valentine's Day this February. I did talk to Eric about it, and I don't remember the details off the top of my head, but the format for this coming meeting or events, their coffee event, it's a little different. There's a specific theme already, so I'm not sure if it makes sense for us to plug in at that meeting, but I'll circle back and find out the details and I can come back to you guys with more information on that.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, that'd be really helpful if the GDA people would really work on the.
Yeah.
I know, just
He'll be doing
anecdotally.
it anyway, because that's his job, is to get restaurants to certify. And so I can, we can tag along with him at certain meetings where someone's available, but at a minimum, we could give him, brochures. It's on my list to make a brochure of Webster Groves's the micro grant, the GDA micro grant program. So, at a minimum, I would give him that. And he already has this information. I shared it with him as soon as council passed it, and because he's been excited, and we've been in touch now for months on this. So he knows the 2 different grants we have. He's raring to go. So that will be, I think, a huge help for us.
Clarifying
Okay.
question. Is any restaurant certified by GDA in Webster yet?
Olive and Oak and Big Sky Cafe.
Is it?
Llewellyn's used to be. And it might have just been like they forgot to renew, but that and Llewellyn's has done, they've got panels on their roof, they've been great.
And do you know, has the Webster Kirkwood Times run an article about the Green Dining Alliance and these restaurants in Webster?
Not yet.
I bet they'd run it in a heartbeat. And if the restaurant owners and the restaurant goers see that article, then they might say, oh, well, geez, Olive and Oak is in. Why aren't you in? Balkan Tree Box? Why aren't you in? Blah, blah, blah.
Also, with certification, each restaurant would get an advertisement in the Healthy Planet magazine and in Sauce magazine. It's part of the perks of becoming certified. So there's a lot of free promotion to restaurants that happens as a perk to them for becoming GDA certified.
Paul, I think you've got your hand raised.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Sean, that sounds, I just wanted to say that sounds great, sort of what's happening already with this and piggybacking on GDA. What would be great, and I don't know if it's just me, but and I want to put more work on your plate, but it'd be great if we could get an update like after that happens, sort of, because I tend to sort of lose track of where we are on things. sometime before the next meeting toward the end of January. That would just be sort of really helpful to understand what's happening sort of more real time rather than catching up on a monthly basis. And then hope that's not too selfish a request, but I'm very interested in in how this is progressing and what we can do to help.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I'm happy to. In fact, I can send you guys an email after my meeting tomorrow with Ben and let you know what the next steps look like. And yeah, as more information flushes out, I can keep you guys abreast. I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
It's just a random question. When you say Olive and Oak, does that mean Olive and Oak and O&O Pizza and Clover, or just Olive and Oak?
No, it just means Olive and Oak.
Okay.
So hopefully the other branches of that ownership will be, happy
Yeah.
to jump on ship.
Should
But right
be
now it's
easy,
just Olive.
hopefully.
and Oak. Good question.
What was the other one that was certified besides
Big
that?
Sky.
Big Sky.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And then also, just to refresh your guys' memory, if 25% of the restaurants in our boundaries sign on, then Webster Groves gets the distinction of being a Green Dining Alliance district, which is just fun for us to have and be able to advertise that. And so really, that's just 8 additional restaurants that we need to get that status. But then also to clarify that boundary lines is basically it's basically north of 44, but these micro grants are available to all restaurants in Webster, even if they're south of 44, like, if they're on Watson or, it's available to everyone.
Great. Thanks for the update on that. All right. Seeing as it's close to 5, I just wanted to throw it out. We've got a lot of balls in the air in terms of priorities that are carrying over from 2023, but just wanted to see if there's anything else new or, just from a brainstorming standpoint, as we look even further out, as far as priorities that we want to think about, and with the Forever Webster Groves plan in mind.
I do have something. I sat in on the one STL's meeting on the tax credits and rebates. It's the Sustainability Lab. And they had speakers from Missouri Division of Energy, EPA, Ameren, Illinois, Ameren, Missouri, and somebody else. But there are some really significant incentives, both as we know in the IRA, but the state of Missouri is also going to be rolling out incentives and rebates. They will, in January 2025, they will start rolling those out. So I would like to, and I will happily take the lead on this, spend some time getting us thinking about how that we can get information about the IRA and get people in Webster on board with the energy conservation pieces that are part of the IRA and the Missouri incentives that'll be coming in 2025.
Great, that's excellent. As somebody who had to install an entirely new HVAC system the last month because the furnace guy came and said, sorry, can't pass your furnace. And I started asking about heat pumps and things, and the contractor was just like, the tax guidance from IRA on all these incentives is clear as mud. And like when you're wanting to replace equipment on an emergency basis, it's hard. So any information would be very welcome.
And it does roll hand in hand with the solar initiative because it has to do with energy, and it's a big deal for the climate mitigation.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else from anyone? Trying to make sure.
I
Oh,
have
Paul.
two
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
We'll go Paul and then you.
Hey, thanks, Jeff. I know we're getting close to 5, but yeah, I was looking through the plan again, and thank you for circulating it, Jeff. And one of the things, and I kind of remember as a group, as we put this thing together, we thought that it would be important, like periodically, to go through it and see how we were doing on the targets that we'd created. And sure enough, the plan actually explicitly contemplates that we do that every 6 months, especially for the first 3 years after it was put in place. It seems to me that sort of just systematically going through it as a group, with Sean's, input as we go through this as well would be, I think, a good idea. I know everyone's short on time. I don't know if we would schedule one of our monthly meetings to do that, but to me, that's sort of critical, because otherwise we sort of lose track of what we thought was important then. And maybe some of those things are not so important now, but I think to sort of really reflect the effort that went into the plan and the thinking and how we did come up with our priorities there, I think we should be sort of trying to use it as much as possible.
Yeah, thanks for those thoughts. Maybe that's something we could have a subcommittee meet offline, and then we could, kind of have a condensed conversation about that at one of the future meetings.
I'd be happy to be on that subcommittee.
Great. All right, Elizabeth?
I had, one question is, I know that we had the grant for Sean's position, and I thought that was a 1-year grant. Is that correct? Yeah. So I think one of our priorities needs to be funding for continued to continue to have a sustainability coordinator. And I think 1 year goes really quickly, so that probably needs to be high on our list. And then the other thing that I would like to see as a priority, since we did not buy out those other properties, and we know that flooding is going to get worse, I would like to see what we can do to, I know that we did the stormwater plan, but that we can do to help mitigate or adapt to the flooding that's going to be happening. Obviously, those areas are going to have, the residents are going to be more financially needy. If you live in the floodplain, your house price is lower, and so your ability to adapt on your own is not going to be as significant. The Brentwood Bound project really is quite wonderful, and I'm wondering if there are things we can do even with MSD funding to work through that, which I know hopefully the stormwater plan will tie into, but I think that for our community, that's a really important thing for us to keep an eye on.
Yeah, all good thoughts there. Agreed. Anyone else before we? Oh, that's just a dog. It's Carla. Carla's dog.
The dog's not
Okay.
on the committee, it doesn't get a vote.
Sorry, I'm so bad at using Zoom on my phone. I don't know how to turn off my microphone without going into drive safe mode, so I will do that now.
I think that was actually a motion to adjourn. I don't know.
All right.
But
Are we gonna set the meetings for the rest of the year or next year?
I think we're going to talk about I think no one suggested to me that.
Sorry, I put that on there because I think it was Chris Hines, someone from city staff needed to know the schedule for all of the commission. So if we want to
Gotcha.
keep just the third Monday of every month, that's fine. I just have to go back to her and.
Yeah, I didn't hear any opposition to the third Monday when I raised it last time.
Third Monday of February is President's Day, does that matter?
Yes, the January and the February meetings are the fourth Monday of the month because of holidays.
Right. We just move, it automatically gets bumped back
Yeah.
1 week typically.
But
if there's a
typically.
holiday.
But
the
typically it's
pattern
third
would
month.
be
Yeah.
Right,
Third
So
Monday.
Typically, it's the third Monday,
Correct.
right.
unless there's a.
If that date pattern
Right.
is still okay with everyone, then perfect. Okay.
That would be the.
It's the
fourth.
fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the 15th is Martin Luther King.
And is there any Monday, any month that's like vacation month, or is it it's all 12?
We've typically taken, I think, July, not had a meeting. We can revisit that, I think.
Yeah, as we get
when
closer.
Get there, yeah.
So I'm just looking at my calendar. The one in March looks like it's during Webster's spring break for the Webster School District. I don't know if that's going to affect. I know it will for a few of us who have kids in. in
Yeah,
this-
I'll be out of town that week, so I don't know if we want to.
So maybe for the first 3 meetings of the year, we move them to the fourth Monday. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd miss the March 18th. I'm out of town. I would be in town on the 25th.
Okay. Anyone have a problem with moving March to the 25th?
That's
Okay.
fine.
Anybody? All right, so first 3 months of the year, we'd meet fourth Monday, and then the rest of the year, we go back to our usual schedule.
Which is the third Monday.
Correct. All right, so we're just about an hour, so do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move.
A second? All approved? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Bye, everyone.